We've heard a lot of criticisms from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, both in the House and the Senate, and generally around the country, directed at the great men and women of ICE, the law enforcement agency that is dedicated to the task of removing illegal aliens, and in particular, dangerous illegal aliens from the streets of the United States of America according to the law, particularly focusing and targeting those individuals. I believe the number is around 1.5 million people who are currently in the United States under orders of removal. That is, they've gone through the process. Judges in this country have ordered the removal of 1.5 million people, and ICE is tasked with removing them. And hundreds of thousands of them are dangerous individuals who have committed crimes in their home countries, who are trafficking narcotics, and have been engaging in criminal behavior in the United States of America. And what do my Democratic colleagues do? They stand up in defense of criminals, of criminal illegal aliens, and in constant attack of the men and women of ICE. Let's just go through some recent criticisms of the people, of the great men and women who are working for ICE. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz smeared ICE officers as, quote, a threat to the public, called ICE reckless, suggested the state is at war with federal officers and under attack by ICE, and smeared ICE as, quote, the modern-day Gestapo.
The immigration debate reached a boiling point on the House floor, and Minnesota became the center of a national firestorm. Politicians, governors, and activists have unleashed fierce attacks against ICE, accusing the agency of chaos, cruelty, and intimidation. But amid the outrage, one critical detail has been almost completely ignored. Who exactly was ICE targeting, and why? This moment cuts through slogans and sound bites to focus on facts, criminal records, and court orders already issued by judges. It challenges the narrative that enforcement itself is the problem. It forces a reckoning with the consequences of refusing to enforce the law. This is not about rhetoric or partisan theater. It is about public safety, accountability, and lives already lost. Tonight's video lays out the evidence that many leaders refuse to acknowledge, and once you hear it all, the question becomes unavoidable: whose side should America really be on?
Now, I want to give you a tale of two choices. I want you to look at and make a decision here about who you want to focus on. Over here, we have victims of dangerous illegal aliens that were in the United States of America. Over here, we have 5 Americans who are no longer with us. We have Kayla Hamilton, a 20-year-old woman with autism, living in Aberdeen, Maryland, who was savagely strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 gang member released by Biden at the border. We have Sergeant Brandon Mendoza, a 13-year Mesa Police Department veteran who was struck by a previously convicted illegal alien who was drunk when he struck Brandon, that gentleman from Arizona. We have, somewhat probably most infamously, Laken Hope Riley. Riley was a 22-year-old nursing student who attended Augusta University, was killed by a Tren de Aragua gang member who illegally paroled into the country under Joe Biden. We have Rachel Marin, a 37-year-old Maryland mother of 5 who was raped and murdered while going out for a walk by an illegal alien who snuck across the border under Biden. And we have Jocelyn Nungare, a woman whose mother I've gotten to know, a woman whose mother I invited to join us at the inauguration of President Trump a year ago because of her courage for standing up and calling out the lawlessness of people who have been released on the streets of this country that resulted in the death of her daughter, Jocelyn. Jocelyn was a 12-year-old girl in Houston who was out for a walk when 2 Venezuelan illegal aliens released under Biden forced under a bridge and forced her to take off her clothes before she was savagely killed in Houston, Texas, my home state. And you want to know what? Their lives mattered. Those individuals' lives mattered. And my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, whether they're in this chamber or in the other chamber or in state houses across this country, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle want to ignore what has happened to these 5 Americans, by the way, who are simply the faces of hundreds of thousands of Americans who have lost their lives violently through narcotics, through fentanyl, through drunk drivers, through murder, through rape, through intimidation. They represent a large block of Americans suffering at the hands of people who have been released on our streets purposely for crass political purposes by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. And the fact is, that has left us with a current situation that is even worse. And I'm going to go through a few more, and then I want to bring my colleagues into this conversation. Here behind me, after all of the eruption over what has occurred in Minnesota, where there's been a lot of vitriol being directed at ICE in Minnesota, let us look at these individuals right here, which represent about 18 individuals that are the people that ICE have been arresting in Minnesota. So a lot of news over one incident in Minnesota. And what we have here are a Somalian illegal alien convicted of homicide. We have a Salvadoran illegal alien convicted of 3 counts of homicide with a deportation order since June of 25. We have a Mexican illegal convicted of homicide who was previously deported in 2002. We have a Sudanese illegal alien convicted of homicide. We have a Laotian illegal alien convicted of 2 counts of homicide with a deportation order since 2009. We have an illegal alien from Sierra Leone convicted of 2 counts of homicide with a deportation order since 2022. We have a Mexican illegal alien convicted of homicide with a deportation order since 2015. We have a Somalian illegal alien convicted of manslaughter with a deportation order since 2022. We have a Sudanese illegal alien convicted of attempt to commit homicide, weapon possession, and DUI. A Guatemalan illegal alien convicted of negligent homicide with a vehicle and DUI with a deportation order since 2022. A Burmese illegal alien convicted of negligent homicide. Another Laotian illegal alien convicted of a strong-arm rape of a 12-year-old girl and kidnapping a child with intent to sexually assault her, with a deportation order since 2024. A Laotian illegal alien convicted of strong-arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and strangulation with a deportation order since 2012. A Laotian illegal alien convicted of rape and child fondling with a deportation order since 2003. A Laotian illegal alien convicted of rape, rape with a weapon, and sexual assault with a deportation order since 1996. Mexican illegal alien convicted of sexual assault of a child and DUI with a deportation order since 2016. A Laotian illegal alien convicted of strong-arm sodomy of a boy, a strong-arm sodomy of a girl with a deportation order since 2018. A Laotian illegal alien convicted of sexual assault and sodomy of a girl under age 13 and procuring a child for prostitution with a deportation order since 2006. These are the individuals in Minnesota that ICE, who are being attacked, criticized, demonized by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, those individuals went out, risked their lives, put their lives on the line to remove these people from our streets so that our children might be safe, so that our families might be safe. No, I'm not going to apologize for ICE. No, I'm not going to join in the bandwagon of criticisms against ICE. Yes, you review procedures. Yes, you make sure you do things by the book and that people have due process. But let's remember, when we're talking about people who are on our streets as guests of our country, and they're committing violence against the people of our country, we have a duty to remove them, deport them, and do it immediately and swiftly. Let's flip the page real quick. Couple more. Let's look beyond just Minnesota. Because remember, when you have dangerous people in places like Minnesota and lawless states like California and New York, where you have sanctuary cities, then there are dangerous people throughout our country too. This is just the worst of the worst from yesterday. Just yesterday, in Virginia, A 20-year-old citizen of Guatemala was convicted for possessing obscene material of a minor and filming child porn. In my home state of Texas, a criminal illegal alien from Mexico was convicted for aggravated assault of a family member in Harris County. In New York, a criminal illegal alien from Jamaica was convicted for burglary. A criminal illegal alien from Mexico was convicted for burglary. And a criminal illegal alien from El Salvador was convicted for false imprisonment and battery. Now, that was just yesterday. Now, let's look real quick at the worst of the worst from 2025 generally, not just yesterday. In Louisiana, a sexual predator, an illegal alien from Honduras, whose criminal history includes active warrants for 394 counts of pornography involving juveniles and 2 counts of sexual abuse of an animal. In Kansas, a violent criminal illegal alien from Mexico was sentenced to 20 years in prison for 1 count of forcible assault on a federal officer after he violently punched an ICE officer and attempted to strangle the officer with his own badge cord. In Virginia, an Afghan national who entered the United States under Joe Biden's, quote, Operation Allies Welcome, provided support to the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, and his father is a commander of a militia group in Afghanistan. In Nebraska, an illegal alien from Honduras and a leader of MS-13, also known as Phantasma, wanted in his home country for a quadruple homicide. After being charged with firearms charges in Honduras, he allegedly bribed his way out of jail and illegally entered the United States. In Houston, a criminal illegal alien from El Salvador, whose criminal history includes convictions for sexual assault of a child under 17, multiple DUIs, child fondling, and illegally re-entering the United States, already previously. When ICE conducted an enforcement operation in November to arrest him, he brutally beat an ICE officer with a metal coffee cup. But if we act now, we can actually save this country. If we act now, we can secure the border. If we act now, we can secure our elections. If we act now, we can guarantee an immigration system that no longer imports people into our country that wants to undermine it. And we can provide healthcare freedom, and we can balance the budget if we act and we lead. But right now, let's secure our country. We can do it this year. That is our calling. We are not here to get reelected. We are here to deliver for the American people. And with that, I will yield my time back.
Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 3rd, 2020.
Chip Roy's argument cuts through the noise with clarity, urgency, and an unwavering focus on American lives. He refuses to let emotional rhetoric replace facts or political convenience override public safety. By laying out criminal records, court orders, and real consequences, he centers the discussion where it belongs, on victims and the rule of law. His position does not attack immigrants as a whole, but confronts the failure to remove violent offenders who were already ordered deported. Chip Roy stands firmly with law enforcement officers who risk their lives doing the job the law requires of them. He exposes the danger of demonizing ICE while ignoring murderers, rapists, and gang members removed from American streets. His message is rooted in responsibility, not ideology. It acknowledges due process while insisting that final court rulings must actually be enforced. He speaks for families who never got justice, and for communities forced to live with the consequences of political neglect. Chip Roy makes the case that compassion without accountability leads to tragedy. He reminds the country that borders matter, laws matter, and enforcement matters. His stance prioritizes citizens, legal immigrants, and public safety over partisan talking points. In a debate filled with deflection, his approach is direct, grounded, and unapologetic. And in the end, he challenges leaders to choose courage over silence and action over excuses.